Hello, I'm Nikki Campbell from Just Imagine. Thank you for joining me for the first of our Reading Journey book recommendations. This replaces our former Book Breeze recommendations and ties in more closely with our Reading Journey project and the Reading Journey digital reading journal. However, we hope the book recommendations will be useful to all teachers, librarians and nursery workers, regardless of whether your school currently uses the Reading Journey or not. We have changed the criteria for book selection to suit the purpose of the Reading Journey. So rather than presenting one big list, we've organised the presentation into 8 shorter videos covering the school years. Secondly, for the first time, we're working with the data generated by the Reading Journey app, which provides anonymised information about what children are reading. With thousands of books being uploaded to children's bookshelves every week, we're developing a comprehensive picture of children's reading choices. Together with pupil interviews, these provide valuable insight into children's reading preferences and motivations to read. So, in our quarterly selections, you will find books chosen primarily to appeal to children. However, we've also used our expertise to curate collections that nudge children to broaden their reading repertoires and make adventurous reading choices. Our position is to value children's reading preferences while also opening up the world of reading by offering choices that may not be as visible through mass media channels, supermarkets, or the high street. Each selection includes a variety of genre and formats that will suit children with different levels of reading attainment, in line with the general spread you would expect within a year group. There will be 4 collections released each year: the summer term, the new school year, the autumn term, and the spring term. Together, these will provide 40 new, recently published books each year to keep your book stock relevant and up to date. Of course, you do not need to be using the Reading Journey to find these packs useful. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the first selection. Here on the left, you can see our nursery collection. I'm going to present each of those books to you in a moment. But before I do that, just to say that all of our collections are discounted and they can be ordered from us by scanning the QR code that you can see on the screen now. That takes you through to an online order form, and schools can pay by invoice with the authority to purchase, or you can pay by credit card. Now, just a word about these books, first of all. The nursery collection are books that are intended for children to enjoy independently or to take home to share with an adult or siblings. Naturally, children will gain more from these experiences if you've introduced and read the books before adding them to your book areas. Now, first, we have 3 sturdy board books for younger nursery children who are still developing book handling skills. Firstly, the popular counting song 10 in the Bed is given a bedtime twist in this version by Carla Martell. The child that you can see on the jacket throws the toys out of bed one by one before they all return at the end of the night, ready to settle down. Teach the song to a group when you introduce the book, and they'll soon be singing it to themselves when they choose this book from your book area. Tim Hopgood is a brilliant creator of books for very young children, and this board book is the latest in a collection about friends, Cedric and Boo. Cedric is the crocodile and Boo is the elephant. Boo has new boots, but doesn't want to get them dirty, so he won't go out into the mud to play until Cedric persuades him. His worst fears come true when his shiny boots are spattered with gooey mud. Fortunately, there are puddles to be jumped in, which restore the boots' shine, and Cedric can enjoy playing outside again. Mac Barnett and John Classen's Icy Summer is just right for this season. As you would expect, it's a stylish, pared-back book that offers plenty of opportunities for conversation. The Noisy House is a book about noise, but also very noisy in its presentation. Look how colourful it is and how much there is going on. This is by Sally Nichols and Garcia Herbert, and it's published by Anderson Press. Once you've introduced this book, you might want to make a noisy map together. It could be a map of your nursery or your school, or a map that the children draw with adults at home, showing all the different noises that they can hear in different parts of their house. Anyway, let's have a look inside. Already, as we can see from this brightly coloured book jacket, there's a lot going on in this almost scary-esque kind of scene. And there are certainly plenty of noises for children to join in with. So let's open up and have a look inside. There we are, the exuberant end papers. And onto the story. This is the gate to the very noisy house. What's behind the gate? You can hear the gate squeak open, and of course we can all join in with that. It's the garden, and here there are all sorts of noises for us to make. We can rustle like the bushes, and maybe we even make a rustling movement. Maybe we can ribbit or croak like frogs, or moo like cows, or buzz like bees. And this is the door to the very noisy house. Can you press the doorbell? So again, there's some activity, some pointing to be done here. Ding dong, or perhaps you prefer a knock knock at the door. Let's have a look. It's the music room. Can you make a noise like a big brass trumpet? Rooty dooty, rooty toot. Or perhaps a little triangle, ding ding. Or maybe bing bang bong like the drums. But guess what? There's another door here. Rat-a-tat-tat. Let's have a look. It's the echo room. So lots of opportunities here for us to practice our echoing. Echo room, echo room, echo room. Hello, hello, hello. And so on. And what's that below the trapdoor? Oh, and we open up, and there we are inside the spooky cellar. Lots of spooky noises to be made here. So very quickly, I'll just show you the other pages. Here we are, we go down underground. Some very quiet noises down here. Shh. Whisper. And we get back into a very loud room for contrast. And a mixed up room. Everything's in a muddle here. Oh, and I bet we all love doing a collective great big roar. Into the bathroom with some mirror writing there. Oh, into the silly room. And lastly, the bedroom. It's time to say good night. I Want Everything is the second in Sophie Henn's delightful series about a ghost that can't control their emotions. Fortunately, their friend, the little ghost that you can see on the book jacket, is on hand to help them see things from a new perspective. The dynamic between these two ghosts works really well. It's inspired that Sophie Henn has made the smaller one, the reasonable one, who gently asks questions until the larger one comes to the realization that they don't want everything after all. The illustration is bright and simple in a way that helps young readers focus on the important detail in this story. So let's have a look at some internal spreads. Here you can see, I want everything. And that little ghost just questioning, you sure you want everything? Yes. Do you want the hiccups? No, of course I don't want the hiccups. And then we get a whole list of things. And the big ghost, of course, realizes that probably what they always wanted was just a hug and a friend. Found Things is the latest book by popular author illustrator Petr Horacek. Again, someone who really knows how to write for this age group. Now, the textured collage artwork in bright colours makes this a really joyful reading experience. Let's take a look inside. So, if we have a look, these lovely printed papers that are so characteristic of Petr's work. And it's always so joyful, I think, his artwork. Here it says, "The sun is out," said Rabbit. "I must get up and go for a walk." Here's that first peephole. "First I must get dressed, but I've only got one sock. Where is the other one? Is it under my bed?" So there's another peephole here. And now we can see Rabbit looking under his bed. And over here is a hat. Rabbit looked under the bed. "No, it isn't," she said, "but there is my hat. I'll put that on." I wonder what sorts of things you have hiding under your bed. "Anyway, my hat keeps me nice and warm," said Rabbit. "Maybe my sock is in the cupboard." And so again, we open up and Rabbit says, "I can't see my sock anywhere. But there is my beautiful tutu. I'll put that on." And so the story goes on. I'm just going to flick through these pages so that you can get a feel for the story. And you can see the peepholes. Through this peephole we have Mouse and Squirrel, Rabbit's friends. They're playing hide and seek or scaring each other. And of course, what do you think Mouse has found over here? Of course, it's Rabbit's lost sock. Rock and Roll by Ruby Amy Thompson is about two unlikely friends who seem at first glance to have nothing in common. This is Rock and this is Roll. They're very different. Rock is strong and Roll is soft. Rock can swim and Roll can fly. I love the irony in this because it looks to me like Rock is really sinking, not swimming. And of course, Roll can't actually fly, but is being tossed into the air. Something perhaps to talk about. Rock hates attention, but Roll loves it. Of course, we can be friends with others who have different interests and talents, and Rock and Roll soon find their common ground and are the best of friends. This story is clearly presented with text that's easy to memorise. If you read this a couple of times to your group, you will soon find that they're reading it to themselves in the book corner. Bear Worries by Natalia Shaloshivli is published by Francis Lincoln. Now, Bear is one of our favourite new characters at Just Imagine, making his debut last year and now starring in this second story. The gorgeously characterful textured illustrations are very emotive. In the latest adventure, Bear worries about everything. What if there are no more cookies in the world? What if the cookie shop is closed? What if they miss the last bus? And what if they get lost? Fortunately, Bear has a good friend who helps him understand that even if things do go wrong, you can still make the best of them, and sometimes they will turn out far better than you expected. Missing the bus, getting lost. But there we are, Duck and Bear at the end. And Duck has decided to share their cookie with Bear, so they have half each. There is actually a lovely humorous twist at the end of this story that stops it from becoming too preachy or too saccharine. Now, from Bear to another bear, this one is Counting Squirrels in Cale Tudor and Mark Butterfon's 10 Tiny Squirrels. We're going to have a look inside this book. 10 Tiny Squirrels by Cale Tudor and Mark Butterfon is an absolutely anarchic, chaotic counting book. It starts in a fairly straightforward way, like most traditional counting books. With our friend Bear noticing that there are 10 squirrels on the line. 10 tiny squirrels sitting in a line. One ran away, and then there were, and you're supposed to say 9, but actually all 10 squirrels can be seen scooting through the window. Wait, says Bear, where are you going? So Bear pops through the window where he sees 9 budgerigars, 9 budgies, and of course we can enjoy counting them. They look like they're all looking on their mobile phones. Anyway, off goes Bear. We can keep going, says Bear. He comes across 8 geese, 8 geese playing with trucks and cars and all sorts of detail to point out in the pictures. He walks off the grass carpet, and here we see the 7 bears. Moving on, this is quite possibly my favourite page here. So you look at this side first and it says, oh, there's nobody here. But if you look very closely in the pictures, you can see some shapes with these eyes. Yeah? Can you see them? And in actual fact, they are all revealed on this page. So there are 6 chameleons. So there's a lot of looking backwards and forwards. Can you now spot the chameleons? And on we go. Bear thinks he's found his squirrels, but actually there are 5 mice baking, 4 geese or ducks in the bath. Then he finds some rocks, but they're not rocks, they're tortoises. Back to the budgerigars again. Wait, why are there only 2 of you? The rest of us left to find your squirrels. We don't think they're far away. Phew, thinks Bear, nearly found them. Could it be? Oh no, has the tiger eaten them? Of course not. I'm not eating your squirrels. I'm eating an apple. The squirrels are just around that corner. And there they all are. You can count them. They look absolutely tired. Count to 10. Now let's start again. 10 tiny squirrels sitting in a line. 1 ran away, and then there were no, they all run off again. So great fun, great counting fun with Cale Tudor and Mark Butterfon. The last book in our nursery selection is Mo's Stick by Fiona Lumbers and published by Little Tiger Press. It's about this appealing character, this little mouse, very simply drawn, but really appealing for the age group. And Mo has a favourite stick that they're holding here on the book jacket. It's balanced very precariously, it has to be said, on these stones. But when our story starts, Mo doesn't look too happy. It's amazing what you can do with 1 raised eyebrow and a few slightly droopy whiskers. And the reason that Mo isn't terribly happy is because they have lost their favourite stick. And now this book it's got a little white mouse, and it's this lovely off-white paper, so the mouse pops out there, and we've got these nice die-cut pages. And even though Mo has so many other sticks to choose from. They are absolutely convinced that no stick will be able to replace their old one. So this story has a narrator talking and or Mo talking and a narrator. You can see that the narrator is in italics here, so it's great for two voices. Mo says, this stick is quite nice. It is a nice stick, Mo, says the narrator. And as we go through, Mo says, but it won't do what my old stick would do. My old stick was really good for drawing pictures. The narrator says, this is beautiful, Mo, well done. And what else could the stick do? Yes, the stick was brilliant for riding to the stars. And for balancing on, tight-roping across the mountains there. Mo's stick was so good for so many things, for gliding and for fishing and even for fighting a great big dragon. So that's where for poking a dragon. Shouldn't really poke a dragon, should you? And in fact, that's what happens to Mo's stick. It gets burnt. But then at the end, the narrator says, perhaps all the amazing things your stick could do were in fact because of you. So this is really a story about imagination. So that rounds up this selection. I hope you found this useful and that you'll join me again in July when I'll be presenting the collections for the new academic year. If you'd like to find out more about the reading journey, we're offering schools a month's free trial this summer. Please get in touch with assistant@justimagine.co.uk and we can set you up. Please note that the reading journey is only available to verified schools in the UK and internationally. It's not available to individuals or to other companies. Until the next time, have a great term. See you then.